Okay. Mr. Masters, you have 60 seconds for this one. 2 years ago this week, the U.S. Supreme Court upended Roe v. Wade with the Dobbs ruling. If you were in Congress, what would you like to see at that level as far as abortion goes? Would you like to see, would you be accepting of any abortions? Would you want complete restrictions, any exceptions?
First, I want to say I am thrilled that Roe v. Wade was overturned, right? And I think President Trump deserves a lot of credit. Those 3 justices that he appointed that got that done, I think those were inspired choices. I'm pro-life. I'm proud to be pro-life. I will never apologize for being pro-life. And I think children are a gift from God. Now, some people think post-Roe, now that we got rid of Roe versus Wade, the issue should just go back to the states. And obviously the state legislatures are going to debate and come up with policies for their states. And as a voter, I will back conservative state legislators like Anthony Kern who support life. Now, what should we do at the federal level? I do believe there's a role. I think that at a minimum, the federal government should have a backstop.
Yes. Would you accept any level of abortion at the federal level? Would you like to see more restrictions? What would you like to see?
So I'm a Christian conservative, and I believe the Bible says that, before you in the womb, I knew you. And so life begins at conception, and that is a human life. And America, one of America's biggest issues is they need to get that right in order to completely turn our country around and get it back on the right track. So there's many people that believe life begins at conception. I do think that the states need to make that decision, but I will never change on the pro-life issue because these are human beings. I think Americans need to really look at what an abortion does. We all want women's health care, but an abortion kills a human being, and we have got to get that right, America.
Mr. Toma, on the issue of abortion at the federal level?
Certainly. Look, my record on abortion speaks for itself. I stood against that being overturned in the Arizona House multiple times. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, what happened, and the rule of 31, that's what happens in our legislature. Having said that, I will say that, if the question ultimately comes down to is should there be a limit to abortion at the federal level in the case of those states that have gone way too far, I think it was mentioned before, those that want to go to a partial birth abortion or something just barbaric like that, then yes, I would support that.
Mr. Hamadeh, abortion at the federal level?
Laws alone are not going to change morality. I applaud President Trump for what he did by appointing those strong conservative Supreme Court justices. For a long time, even Ruth Bader Ginsburg thought that it should not be at the federal level. So, I appreciate that it's back at the state level. Now it's going to be up to each individual state. And so I don't believe the federal government has a role. I do think in Congress, my job is to make sure that money is not going to Planned Parenthood in any of these abortion clinics. But, if you look at here in Arizona, we have a lawless government. You saw Chris Mays and Katie Hobbs. They both said they didn't really care what the Supreme Court was going to say. They weren't going to abide by it anyway. So text on a piece of paper is not going to solve this.
I'm pro-life. I follow my faith. I do believe, like others here, that life begins at conception. I think you need to educate the young. So we need to show the young ultrasounds. When my wife had our children, what an ultrasound looks over decades. And passionately and lovingly, never give up. But it's a good fight to have. But you have to have it with passion and love. And you can show through technology what a child looks like throughout the whole time.